What's up, guys? Welcome to What's Up Wednesday, a weekly series where I break down some of the biggest news stories that I'm keeping my eyes on this week. First up is the TSA, and honestly, this one's kind of insane. Travelers are now facing the longest TSA wait times in history, and all of this is thanks to the ongoing DHS shutdown, and it's kind of ridiculous because nobody can really tell who's to blame for it. The Democrats are saying that the shutdown is happening because they want stronger restrictions on ICE, which is also a part of DHS, and that's why they're not funding DHS. And Republicans are saying, well, no, it's affecting even people that you do like TSA workers. And these people have families. And so I don't really know who's at fault. And it honestly depends on who you ask. But what I do know is that morale is pretty low. Hundreds of TSA workers have already quit. And there's been a massive spike in assaults on TSA officers, like up 500%, which just shows how tense everything is getting. And now you have ICE agents being brought into the airports to help. And to be honest, I've seen some photos of them, and some of them are a little goofy looking, little out of place. I'll put some examples of what I'm talking about on screen. But yeah, they look pretty goofy. But yeah, I mean, with that aside, Trump's also talking about the possibility of sending in the National Guard into airports in addition to ICE and TSA. And that's another thing that Democrats don't really love because they're saying, well, no, you can't really do that. And Trump is saying, well, no, I can deploy National Guard troops wherever and whenever I want. Do you remember DC? But something that a lot of people are still pointing out is the fact that the lines are still long. You know, ICE is here, and so what? Nothing's really any more efficient than it was. And people are waiting for like hours. Like people are literally waiting outside. I'll put an example on screen right here that I saw on Twitter, but it's ridiculous. Like I'm supposed to be flying over Easter weekend to go see some of my family. And so, you know, I might also get caught up in some of this nonsense. And yeah, it's getting pretty crazy out there. So if you're flying anywhere anytime soon, plan way ahead because it is not normal right now. Another thing that I saw is if this keeps going, TSA might actually have to just shut down some smaller airports. So yeah, pretty crazy one. Next thing I'm keeping my eye on are gas prices, which by the way, are still terrible. I live in a pretty purple city in a red state, but I was driving past a gas station today and I saw that where I live, it's $5 a gallon. So I've never seen that before, and the gas prices are just not going down, and I don't think that they will anytime soon. And the big issue with that is prices of goods react pretty quickly when gas prices are up. Think about it. All of these shipping logistics companies are relying on diesel or gasoline to operate a lot of their vehicles. And so if diesel's at $5, which we haven't seen since 2022, that's going to cause some issues. They're going to have to make whatever they're shipping more expensive, whether that's a Frisbee that you're ordering, whether that's your groceries that are being delivered to the grocery stores, or if it's your Amazon next day delivery shower curtain, it's going to get more expensive. It will. And all of this is amid an economy that's already pretty terrible where nobody can afford to buy a house. And people like me really don't have that much disposable income, especially compared to what the average person my age had 40 years ago. Normal people can't afford to buy houses. The median age of a first-time homebuyer in the US reached a record high of 40 years old. It was 38 last year. 15 years ago, the median age of a first-time homebuyer was 30. So not only can the average American not afford to buy a house, now they might not really be able to afford as many groceries as they need either. And all of this is going on because of the war in Iran. Obviously, a lot of things are escalating over there. And this conflict is one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, why gas has been going up in the US. But right now, we're pretty much at a standstill with Iran when it comes to any kind of deal. The US put forward a pretty aggressive plan. It was like a 15-point plan. And Iran pretty much said no. And now you're seeing that like 2,000 troops are going to be headed to the region. So now it's not just about drone strikes anymore. It's turning into something that could be boots on the ground, which is exactly why this situation is so volatile. It feels like it could escalate really quickly or randomly shift into negotiations. But as of right now, there is no clear resolution. I mean, I look back to when Trump first struck Iran, and it was a somewhat peaceful period of time between us afterwards, for a decent amount of time. U.S. representatives were meeting with representatives from Iran and Qatar. But as of right now, there's no forecast of that happening, and there's no clear resolution. And Iran doesn't really seem too interested in what President Trump has offered them. Something else that's been on my mind is Nancy Guthrie, who I almost totally forgot has been missing for now 2 months because there have been no updates to this case. That's the news. She's been missing for about 2 months, and there are still no answers. And so it's kind of weird how fast it just exits the news cycle. I feel like I don't really see people talking about it anymore, even though last month it seems like it was all that anybody could talk about. So yeah, just thought it was something I would bring up. Also, something new that I saw today is Druski dropping a parody skit that people are losing their minds over. Druski essentially made a parody making fun of Erica Kirk and Caroline Levitt, and a lot of people are saying that it's going too far and he's crossed the line making fun of a grieving widow. But other people are saying that it's a fair satire of a public figure, and a political one at that, and that's what comes with the territory. So I think the bigger question for me is, how soon is too soon when it comes to jokes like this? Because comedy has always pushed the boundary in making fun of serious topics, and that's really not anything new, but it sort of feels like the line changes depending on who the joke is about. And I think part of the reason that it's got so much attention is because Druski's no longer this niche internet celebrity that only select circles are aware of. At this point, he's doing commercials with Kevin Hart. He's hanging out with Timothy Chalamet and Lil Yachty. And so when someone at that level makes a joke like this, it hits way harder than it would have if it was just any regular Joe Schmo. Switching tone here to something that is a little bit more fun, sports. And opening day is here for baseball. I'm not that big of a baseball fan, but it's pretty exciting. The San Francisco Giants got destroyed at home by the New York Yankees. And also, March Madness is starting back up tomorrow. And my bracket not doing too well. If you remember from last video, I actually picked Wisconsin to be in my Final Four, and that did not pan out well for me. They lost in the first round and got upset by High Point. However, I still have Nebraska, Michigan, and Duke, and I still have Michigan winning it all. Go Blue. But yeah, a lot going on this week, and I'm definitely watching the TSA situation and gas prices and seeing what happens next with Iran, and I'll also be watching March Madness tomorrow. So yeah, let me know what you guys are watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.